This is not a real counseling session. This is a mock video for a school homework assignment. Thank you, Brittany. Thank you, Mary, for coming in today. So I haven't ever met either one of you before, so tell me a little bit about y'all and what has brought y'all in today.
Okay, my name's Mary. We came in today because we just recently found out that we are sisters, but we were both adopted by other families.
Oh, wow.
So I grew up in the New England area. I am 36 now, and I was adopted when I was 5. And so we basically are just trying to reconnect and learn some stuff about each other and maybe our real parents and family and find out if we have other siblings. And I don't know. So I have some adopted siblings back home, 3 brothers.
Okay.
So, and really great adopted parents.
Okay. So you have a good relationship with your family now and everything. And so you were 23 and you were adopted when you were 5? Okay.
I'm 36.
Oh, you're 36.
Yes.
I don't know why I said 23. Okay. 36 and you were adopted when you were 5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. And yourself?
I'm 30, and I was adopted when I was 2.
Okay.
And I was adopted by a family in the South, in Texas, which is where I was raised.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have 3 other siblings that were also adopted from, wherever they came from. But so there's 4 of us adopted kids and 1 family. We get along for the most part, but sometimes it can be kind of tricky because there's me and then another girl and then there's 2 boys. And me and the other girl are really close in age. We were adopted within a week of each other. So we're just trying to reconnect and then see if we have any other siblings, like she said. And it's, trying to visit each other the most we can because we live so far apart.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of hard, but.
All right. So how did y'all find each other? How did that work?
Well, ironically, we both took a DNA test that you can just order online.
Okay.
And you just spit in a tube. It's kind of gross, but you spit in a tube and you send it off. And it gives you the report like a couple weeks later.
As long as you've both done it, it'll connect you.
Yeah.
And so I had done one also. And just
Wow.
lo and behold, there it was, the connection.
Wow.
So it was
Pretty wild.
really crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, knowing, I guess, that we were adopted and kind of doing something like that, you kind of hope that something like this comes about.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we're pretty fortunate to have that connection.
Yeah.
Yes. So.
Do any of you have any memory of like your childhood or your original family, your biological family or anything? I mean, 2, probably not, but.
Not really. I mean, I have 1 picture, but it's from so long ago that like the parents, they probably look completely different and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have any siblings or nothing in the picture. It's just a picture of them like when they were young. So that's the only thing I have. I don't really remember anything about it. Because I was 2. I wasn't in a foster home or anything for that long. So
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, not really. I've like very little memory of them, like my actual biological parents. I think more or less because I was with grandparents also a little bit up
Mm-hmm.
until the age of 5, in and out of different homes. But I mean, I just remember 1 vacation. That was it.
Yeah.
That I went on. But it's such foggy memories.
Yeah.
Just knowing that I liked the beach when I was younger, so
Yeah.
having had a beach trip, but that's really it.
Yeah.
So
Well, what a unique and exciting kind of situation that y'all are in, that both y'all did that. Did y'all grow up with the desire to kind of want to seek out your family, or is this something that just kind of eventually you just decided to do?
well, for me, like not really at first because I mean the people that adopted me. I mean, yeah, we fight and bicker sometimes like any other family,
Mm-hmm.
but I had siblings there with me, like people to keep me company that came from the same situation as me, like they were adopted too. And like me and the sister, we were so close in age that I kind of felt like it filled the gap a little bit. Like, I mean, there was always a part of me that kind of wondered, but especially when you're younger, you don't think about it as much, I guess. But then as you get older and you start to run into more health issues, you start to have things like that, you kind of want to know, like, where you came from, what's going on.
Yeah.
And what health issues, what might run in your family, because even though they're my family by, genetics, they're not.
Right.
And so that was one of the main reasons. I mean, I did want to find out if I had anybody out there that was related to me, but the genetics part of it and the health part, that's what made me like, I want to know if I had a grandfather who died at 63 because of cancer or whatever.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
So
For me, it was a little different. I mean, I really grew up, close with, of course, my adopted family, and I thought about it when I was younger, just because you always wonder where you really came from. I mean, I knew I was adopted. It was something that my adopted parents talked to me about, and it wasn't like they acted like I was theirs from the get-go, and I was never adopted. It was spoken about, and so so that I was aware growing up, just of knowledge purpose. But as I got older, I knew they would understand more of me wanting to know more of the background history of my real family, but it was harder for me to take that step in doing it. Maybe the DNA test was a lot to just find out like my nationalities and stuff like that too, and the DNA behind it. But I didn't want to hurt my adopted parents' feelings in reaching out to find my biological family or siblings and parents. But it was easier as I got older because I knew they understood.
Right.
Like they know they're my parents. I know they're my parents. They raised me, But I think when I was younger, of course, I had the inside feelings of wanting to do that.
Right.
But I didn't speak about wanting to do that because I didn't want them to also feel like, I didn't want them as my parents or anything. Because, you go through as a teenage girl, you definitely don't act right all the time. And you have those hardship moments with your parents, of course, the fights and stuff like that. And, I don't know, as a teenager, you always think, well, what would it be like if, I wasn't here and you weren't my parents, but I mean, I never really threw those type of things in their face. So, as I got older, I knew it'd be easier to be able to reach out and just find out that background history.
Yeah.
Like, what if my parents are famous and I could be living in a mansion?
Right?
Yeah. There you go.
But they're not.
Yeah.
Turns out.
Well, and I commend both of you. That is really, that takes a lot of courage, a lot of bravery to step out there, and say, and I do hear a lot of people who say, I want to search out my family, but I don't want to hurt my family's feelings or, things like that. And I think that I agree as adults and having, I'm going to start my own life, my own family. You want to know a little bit more. So it's very interesting, the situation that y'all are in. I commend you. That just really takes a lot of bravery. And so now y'all are here. Tell me about the first time y'all met. How long ago was that?
That was like, I guess,
years ago?
Yeah.
Probably a couple of years ago when I got my results back. I don't know when you did yours exactly. But I did my DNA test a couple of years ago, and when it did connect us, at first it was one of those, do I want to reach out, or do I not, or maybe she doesn't want me to, you kind of go back and forth on whether you should or not, and of course, this day and age, you get social media, so what do you think? The first thing I did was jumped on Facebook and, searched her name, because it connected us, and
I think it even took me like a month before I replied to your message on Facebook, because I was like, okay, I don't know if I want to
all those questions, like you initiated by the DNA test, but then, okay, this is really happening.
What if she's super weird?
Yeah.
Right?
What if I don't wish I never met this person, and so I think that's what's kind of brought us to even counseling, just so we can kind of understand each other and be able to talk about it, and not only just with each other, but of course, just it's probably had a toll on both of us in different aspects of our life growing up, being adopted. So, I don't know, 2 years ago, I guess, to answer the question.
Okay. So 2 years ago, and so y'all reached out via Facebook, social media, things like that. And so did y'all actually meet in person, like here in Texas or in Boston? Y'all meet in the middle? How'd y'all do that?
I think we ended up meeting halfway. We went halfway, and we just went and did like a little weekend trip.
Okay.
Nothing like high pressure. We went and we each had our own hotel room, so it wasn't like weird, like sharing a hotel room with like a brand new person. And then we just had like lunch and dinner and just kind of talked and discussed everything for the weekend. And then whatever.
I mean, we had more conversations via social media, like before the initial meeting. So
it wasn't super awkward.
Yeah, the initial questions kind of were out of the way, really. So then it was just like the more personal meeting, of course.
Yeah.
which was really cool. You know,
Yeah.
we met at the beach
Yeah.
because that's